Smart 24, driving business.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and good evening, dear Ugandans and East Africa, and wherever you're watching us, those who are on YouTube, and of course DSTV, GOTV. Thank you for joining us today as we get to discuss some of the very important happenings around the region and in Uganda. Today happens to be the 25th, just like that. The month has gone. And also the year is running very fast, 25th of June 2024, and we are just 13 minutes past 9. My name is Noah Opera. This is Economic Agenda, and you're watching Smart 24 TV. We are going to be having one of those very important conversations. That is what is happening around the country. But before that, of course, I need to take you around what is happening. In Kenya, a state of emergency has been declared. KDF, Kenya Defense Forces, have been deployed to make sure that they curb the riots, the peaceful demonstration that turned into riots, because citizens went ahead to vandalize the parliament of Kenya, which didn't turn out well. Some people have died, and I've been told that some attempted to go for the president in State House, which I don't know, have Major who is going to tell us if that was a wise decision for citizens to think about going to State House. In Uganda, a lot of things have been happening in the fight against corruption. We have had statements from the president, we have had statements from the Speaker of Parliament, we have had MPs arrested, about 5 of them, in line with the corruption allegations that are still to be proven, if actually they are guilty or they are innocent. As for me, Ugandan, I will be saying here, thank you government for catching some of these people. And if they are caught with the money, we hope that they return our money and we put it to proper use. Welcome once again, and let me take this opportunity to introduce my guests, wonderful guests. One has been on the show, the lady that I respect with, that uttermost belief that she has been serving the country for some time. And also I have Major Awich, who is also a cadre in the NRM serving the country, a gentleman, very handsome guy. Let me take this opportunity to please introduce yourself. I'll start with the lady.
Yes, thank you. Good evening to all of you watching us, listening to us, and paying attention to what we're about to say. Salam Musum as usual, Forum for Democratic Change, and a patriotic citizen of this country.
Patriot is
yes,
here.
I am.
Afan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name is Major Retired Awich Paula. For my day-to-day bread, I'm an advocate, I'm a lawyer, but now I serve in my capacity as a Director for External Affairs in the mighty NRM. I'm a retired major, as you said. Good evening, viewers.
Mighty is what Honorable Salam Musumba, I would give her the chance to justify if the mighty is justifiable, especially in her presence. But a lady and a gentleman, a lot of things are happening in the country. I would like a comment from you on the issues that are happening in Kenya. What is your comment on the Kenyan situation, Honorable Salam Musumba?
What you see is citizens properly upset and angry at so much for so long that they can't take it no more. It is venting itself in a way that is unexpected, but that befalls all of us countries in this on this continent, that do not pay attention to feedback from the population,
Yes.
that does not take citizens seriously. Countries full of fat cats that have lost touch with everyday life. And so they get caught offside, and they are always underestimating this anger. And so you have to declare a state of emergency in the circumstances, because you have failed your own people, you have failed your citizens, and you have failed yourself. Remember, President Ruto branded himself as a hustler, and so the hustler nation waited for the chief hustler to do the hustle for the rest of the country. He has successfully done the hustle for himself, and he hasn't carried along the rest of the wananchi. And so I need to understand it from the cost of living that has gone high, the enraged community have accumulated anger, maybe not just out of the Ruto policies, but accumulated failure, cumulative corruption. Because the word corruption has been synonymous with Kenya and Kenya government. And so I think the population has finally had it. They're sick and tired of failed promises, because Kenya, unlike Uganda, feeds from the pocket.
Yes.
They do not have the big advantage that we have.
They happen to be more urbanized than us.
They have been forced to be urbanized by climate and by weather and by the geography they are in. And so they have done themselves a big favor by being heard. You know, all avenues of decent discussion in Kenya appear to have been closed off and have been told by the help of Uganda.
Yeah. We will have to get more information on that. But I want a comment from a major retired on the situation in Kenya. What is your comment?
No, my comment about the situation in Kenya is actually a comment that is not new, because people have been asking, for example, why people do this in Kenya and they don't do it in Uganda. It talks about the methods of work of governments. We all know, even in the Ugandan constitution, that power belongs to the people. And we would expect that this power exercised through a periodic election. But we also have a provision where people can take power in case, for example, an undemocratic government comes. So the balance here is, when do you expect people to use the power they have? We believe in NRM that the people can only stay peaceful when you do what meets their needs. It's not super science. It's not rocket science. And that is why you see a community choosing to be peaceful and others not. Not because somebody went to a witch doctor and bewitched them to be peaceful. Not even an amount of gun. It is how you meet the needs of the people. And for example, if you see the case of Kenya rioting is on the taxation, that the tax is biting. A similar situation that would have arisen in Uganda is in the Euphrates, whatever case, that Euphrates thing. Here it was not the people saying we are taxed unfairly. Here it was the business people saying, well, the tax could be okay, but the procedural matter of taxing us. So here the argument was the procedure, that it needs a laptop, it needs computer, you need to employ people. It was not substantively on the tax. But the Kenyans are saying, you are taxing us unfairly. So we should be cognizant to the feelings of the people. And some people talk about consciousness. It's not about the consciousness that is derived in school or in the churches or in classrooms. Consciousness is, it's a feeling that arises out of the natural senses of a person. We all have the human sense of touch, smell, pain, and all these 5 senses. So the consciousness of the people derives itself from the materiality, not an ideal, not a spirituality. So the only way to control people taking this power that they have in their hand is to do what the people needs. And that is why for us we always assess in what are the people needs. For example, simple thing that you think people think is not really that good. For example, how are you reaching people through your Paris development model? Are you reaching, what are the interventions? And also, in conclusion, it sets on the nature of the economy. The nature of the economy, again, does not come by will of God. You will realize that some economy like Uganda is set in such a way that an ordinary people will always have what to eat. Okay? Will have what to eat. Now, if you tie the economy to the bread, you tie, which is even imported, then you have a chance that once you mishandle that provision, then you are touching what touches the people.
What touches the people.
Yeah.
Although on the issue of the bill, a number of analysts, when you listen to them, they are suggesting that the bill was just a trigger that brought this whole strike and demonstration, because there are a number of other things. Some of them is the government is giving jobs according to families, relatives, and people they feel they deserve the job. Merit is being, omitted, or they are not considering merit when they're giving jobs. And also a number of other things, social challenges that are happening. They tackled on education. Education has now gotten very expensive compared to how the situation was. So I think it goes beyond that. My question is, which I think I would like to get to Honorable Salam Musumba, are there some lessons we should pick from Kenya today?
Ugandans are they are empowered. Okay, they do not feel, they do not replicate, they do not, impervious, they do not, they do not benchmark. By the way, Ugandans also have actually pushed back at so many things. You remember walk to work. Those have all been efforts to be heard. You remember all these demonstrations have been about something, and the feedback has been cracked down militarily. We have a military DNA. And therefore, unlike Kenya, you will meet death. You will meet death at the slightest, because everything, the response is militarism. It is a pushback with military might.
And therefore, Major says that we can. According to the Constitution, that's what he says.
Well, we can. We have Article 4 and Article 3, and we can do so many things. The latitude is there, constitutionally and legally, but the gagging has been since independence, and that's why Uganda is a very violent country. Peace is not just the absence of war, as Paula would like to describe it. This is why we have Uganda Matters. The brutality is within our DNA. The lack of dialogue, the lack of peace in our hearts, the lack of respect of citizens. That's why we have had more coups in this region. All those are telltale signs of what the fundamental wrong is. That's why we have never had a peaceful transfer of power from one government to another. Even when it was proposed in the 1995 Constitution, it was never allowed to work. And so the military streak within our governance system, the death, I remember being in Tanzania the bunge there, the parliament there, said, look, Uganda, you have so much blood on your hands. Until you stop the killings of your own people, you will never rest. And that has evidence all over our history. The Luwero Triangle War, the war in northern Uganda, the war. Now it has changed into something else. But this is a country with a unique history, a violent history, a military history, a non-democratic history.
It's good we have a serving officer who has been in the service for a number of years, I believe. I would like to hear your comment on the
just to pick from, and I listen to Honorable, but I want to pick from your question whether you said any lesson from Kenya.
From Kenya.
You see, by nature we are all human beings. Kenyans and Ugandans, we are all human beings. And the feelings that we have is a feeling any human being can have. And that's what it began by the materiality of consciousness. Now, historically, you would think that Ugandans are more violent. Because apart from the Mau Mau war in Kenya, Kenyans have never been shown any sort of violence.
Apart from the 2017.
But the gun shooting, we have had more gun shooting, more rebellion. Therefore, you'd think that Uganda has the potential of doing this than Kenyans. Now, why isn't it there? I have repeatedly said that in NRM, even during the historical fighting of NRA, the idea was that the people had put in the center. NRA fought a war, destroyed the enemy battalions and brigades, but despite this capacity to destroy enemy battalions and brigades and taking over power, the philosophy was that you must be pro-people, make a people-centered, sensitive decision. And it continues to date. And that's why I'm saying other commentators may not want to believe it, but the only way for them to believe it is that the people will continue not to do what should have been done. And that is not by chance. It is because the people needs, and these people needs are designed in that the economy that I'm telling you, that you put economy in such a way that even when during corona the world economy collapses, people have food. It's by design, not by spirit. And therefore, we have the capacity as Ugandans, demonstrated by the history of the number of endless rebellion that we have had, the Lakwena, the ADF and whatever, that we could cause more violence than any other country. But it is not because the people sense centeredness in decision making of the people. The gun by the state, the helicopter comes second. You can only use the state to enforce what is popular. Take for example the environmental eviction. Averagely, every Ugandan would know that environment should be protected. Yes. And that is why when you evict people, people can cry, but even your neighbor alone will tell you, but why were you there? Don't you see we are eating environment? So you can see that you are enforcing a pro-people decision, and that is why you don't see riot.
Afande, I am going to take one of the statements you have said, that is people-centeredness. And when we get into the real conversation of government fight against corruption, which corruption is one of the things that are contributing to the demonstrations in Kenya, and also you have mentioned something about evictions, but I would want to look at people-centeredness in the next conversations we're going to have, or from the statement that was made by the president and then the statement that was made by the speaker. Let's look at this and see how people-centered we can agree with, and of course Honorable Musumba's opinion, how we can justify some of these statements from you. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We are going to break off a short commercial and we will return after that. Stay tuned. This is Smart24 TV, Driving Business.
Will you be kind?
Smart 24, driving business.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
Amanya gange nze Namtebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyenyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere weewaawo abafere gye bali naye ennamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanye eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo 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 era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
Okay, right there. Thank you so much. And we are back with the economic agenda. Smart 24 TV driving business. Right now, we are discussing the fight against corruption that is by the government of Uganda and the citizens of Uganda, because we know very well that there have been people who have been at the forefront using their platforms, using their positions to make sure that they expose the corrupt. And those include journalists and activists and different people who later I would want to hear a comment from especially my guest, the NRM cadre, a very honorable NRM cadre. One of the respect I want to give him is that he's a one perfect timekeeper and he's proud of it, which is something to respect for a diplomat as him. Before we left, we talked about the Kenya situation. I think I would like to just highlight a little bit of the situation in Kenya. My producer can just give us a little bit of that so that we understand what we are discussing, because the situation was bloody, the situation was full of smoke, tear gas, the situation was got violent over time. And we got to see people vandalize the parliament. There we are. Their parliament. Kenyans got really serious. And the comments from different people across Africa, they're praising them. I have not seen much of people who are criticizing them. At the moment, after all this situation, we have seen that there has been a declaration of state of emergency by the president. As we speak right now, the president has been addressing the nation, talking about different things. Before I came to I couldn't really get to hear more of what he was talking about, but I'm sure he definitely has support the bill that has led to this. One of the things that people are talking about is that they knew people were demonstrating over this bill, and today morning they decided to pass it. That was a bit of an ignition into the matter. So people went to the street, quite a number of people. Young people have been shot, a number of young people have been shot. Some have been arrested. There have been allegations of kidnapping of some members, and that is the situation.
Mungiki style. Yeah. There's always that reservoir.
So today also, internet was shut down.
Uganda style.
The biggest social media platform right now that helps people in mobilization and activism, that is X, formerly Twitter. It was shut down. We have seen a bit of that in Uganda as well.
Starlink is alive.
When you say Ugandan style, there are people who who think that, you know, there's quite an inspiration for President Ruto. But yes, the boldness we have seen in this, Honorable Salam Musumba and Major Awich, the boldness that we are seeing in this, have we seen such images in Uganda?
Yes, we've seen worse. You do remember the environmental matter of Mabira, when unprepared, it was sparked, and there was loss of life. That was about defending natural resources and habitat for all of us, a common good. We have seen Kayunga riots. We have seen many other things. This is the entire menu of violence has been meted on us in the night, in the day, disappearances among us in the opposition. We know, we've been told about people being fed to crocodiles, people being thrown into cans of acid. We have so much that we've been told, and not that everything we hear we say, but we take caution and we take precaution, and we also get word around in the Radio Katwe sense. Radio Katwe really amuses me because that was in 1979 when there were no radios, and information used to go around through Radio Tanzania, Radio Rwanda, and we got liberated. So that tool and that skill is still within us, and very effective even before Facebook and X came around.
Yes.
So we are volatile. If they were distributing food instead of canisters, looking at Kenya this evening looks like apartheid South Africa.
Isn't that exaggerated?
No, it's not. I mean, that's how the Boers were treating the Africans.
They were quite ruthless. They could shoot people live.
Yes, and these ones are no different. In a matter that could have been resolved as the president had promised, but you know how they spite populations. The way the Lord Mayor would say, "Basajamwe mojoga." And that's what exactly they did it.
To Major retired, how do you think Uganda government would have handled this situation?
How Uganda government would have handled this in the first place, it would not have decided against the people's will. The parliament is expected to be the representatives of the people.
Honorable Salam Musumba seems to disagree, but
yes,
no, it's okay.
We have just passed a bill.
Yes,
we have just passed a finance bill. Did we have that? No.
Well, we allowed even to
first of all, we wouldn't have passed an insensitive bill. And that's why I told you that the other riot that should have come was not that the people are saying you have taxed us badly, but that the businessmen are saying, okay, the tax is okay, but the procedure of collecting.
Although the age limit seemed to have been sensitive a bit, not a bit, wasn't it sensitive?
But listen, you saw everything. You can replay. You can replay the Tojikwata saga and what followed.
I thought I was still answering your question.
Oh, please.
I was answering your question that the government of Uganda would have handled this in a way that, first of all, an insensitive taxation wouldn't have come up. You cannot be insensitive to tax people to the point that you will know they will not have what to eat. Because the biting thing here is that people are saying, if tax us, we won't have bread.
We won't have bread.
And it goes ties again to the nature of the economy that the government has said, that you have set your people to tie to the bread, which is even imported, the ingredients of bread are imported, and then you tax it. So government of Uganda wouldn't have done that. Two, in the unfortunate event that such a contradiction arises, because we live in day-to-day contradictions, even in families, with your wife, with your husband, with your children, these contradictions do arise. If it had a reason, you have seen the culture, the normal culture in Uganda now of petitions to President Museveni. Every another group does petition. That culture has come to be a norm because it arises from the fact that when you petition, he listens. If he had not been petitioning, if he had been petitioning and he doesn't listen and resolves, it wouldn't have been now more or less a norm. You have had so many of these communities who appeal to the president, so many communities who appeal to the, so many, it has become a norm. That norm can only develop as a norm and practice if the repeated appeals had not been listened to. So in this case, in the event that a contradiction would have arisen, definitely President Museveni would have listened to this and sorted it out. And I've told people that even long for us in the army, the capacity of the president, we used to have, I told some people they didn't believe this, that we used to believe in the military alone. In Swahili we would say mzee anapanga, meaning the president or the chairman, high command, will handle. Even in government, for example,
during the war in Luwero.
For example, even a university strike of professors in Makere, if such a thing came up, with that mindset of ability of President Museveni to listen and come up with a solution, we would always believe that, well, the university professor is striking, but the president, a solution will be cooked. So similarly, and he would cook it, and the professors will be happy, and they'll go back to lecture, and their needs and rights would be met. They would not take back the professors by use of gun. The professors would be taken back to classroom by use of an agreed position by both parties. And that has happened over a period of time. And that's what I said, the people can only be silenced by how you meet their needs. No amount of helicopter, no amount of tanks would silence them. So this couldn't happen because of our methods of work. In the people-centeredness in decision making, in resolution of conflicts that arise. Like I said, it does arise every day in a family.
Honorable Salamu Sumba, you seem to have a different opinion on the matter. You
see, the character of everything being solved by one person is just a sign that there is systemic failure, there is dysfunctionality, that other organs and institutions of the state have failed.
But when you say one individual deciding, aren't we looking at for as long as services are delivered? Are you not satisfied with the services?
I wish they were. I would be the happiest. But they are not. That is why everything ends up in State House. Everything, because the other organs have been disabled. You should be getting services at local government level, but there's no functionality.
The military is functional?
No, it is not.
The education sector
That is why there's an army within an army. That needs a full day for me to describe it for you.
Major.
And,
I think I'm the one who brought this. And I brought it in the context that even in a family, a contradiction arises. In other words, I was alive to the fact that this is an exceptional situation that always reaches the president. Otherwise, the mass of government is functioning, and it does. Judiciary is functioning. Legislative, we have left them there. Local governments, with the devolution of power from LC1, LC3, and LC5, they are working.
Decentralization.
What gets to reach the president is the exception, not the rule. If it was that everything is going there, like Honorable is suggesting, then it would be so visible that the president is overwhelmed. It would be so visible that people sleep in State House. But the point is, these are exceptional situations that does arise. And I was putting the case of Kenya that it would have been such kind of exceptions.
Honorable Musumba, do you think the president is overwhelmed? Because one person handling all that...
It is not the president to be overwhelmed. From my reading, we have a parallel government within State House where every department is duplicated and replicated and triplicated and quadruplated. And so power is taken away from what is traditional to what is specialized. That doesn't tell you that that is a system that is smart, that is efficient. Because you have layers and layers of bureaucracy. You need to know somebody in a high place for you to get served. Those that don't know people in high places are really part of the excluded community. The discussion in Parliament is not a final discussion. That's why even Parliament has been disabled. That's why Parliament has chosen now to turn into itself to join and set up its own cartel of robbers, cartel of thuggery, which we now see.
Talking of Parliament and the President, there have been two major statements that are running around the media, traditional media and new media. I would like to have some of these, my producer please, you could help us have some of these statements viewed. But the statements, one of the statements is from the President. The other statement is from, not that one, I think there's another statement that was made by the President. This was a comment that was made by another person. That's an individual. And the statement here says, we are to stamp out corruption. I don't know how the corrupt forgot that we have got a lot of power and capacity, which we shall use if necessary.
There's a disclaimer.
The corrupt people insult our hedges. They have now attracted our full attention. We shall crush this treachery. And this is really betrayal, and we are going to finish it. That is a statement from the President.
I think that came yesterday?
Yes, one of the statements that came in the recent communication that he has...
No, I wanted it clear because I wanted to see whether it came before Lwengo or after Lwengo.
It came before Lwengo.
After.
It came after Lwengo?
Yes. It came actually, I think it is part of the statement when the President commented about the 75th birthday of
yes.
So it came after Lwengo.
It came after
I like to put that milestone.
So then we have the statement from Honorable Anita among the Speaker of Parliament, kindly. And then this is the statement from Honorable Anita Mongi. The President Museveni has heard our cries. Your cries, where you say that when your child misbehaves, you beat and say go back and do something good. And you are better off having a child even if she goes and eats something, so long as she brings some back home. That was in defense that Sise Namuju, currently on remand on corruption charges, is going to be your MP forever. Somebody missed a little bit of spelling there. It's Sise Namuju, currently on remand on corruption charges, is going to be your MP forever. We are talking about somebody who has been arrested on corruption charges, and the Speaker of Parliament is saying that person is going to be your MP forever, which is a very strong statement. Now, we are looking at these two statements.
And do you doubt it?
I don't know whether I have to doubt it or believe it.
No, you shouldn't doubt it, because if you do recall, the list of commissioners of the Electoral Commission,
yes,
the list that was sent to Parliament was recalled.
It was recalled.
It was recalled. And the names that she wanted got back on the list. And so she's talking with authority. And don't have any doubts about what she's relaying to the country.
Major retired away. We need to know whose voice should we believe here?
We should believe the president. And that is why I wanted to be clear that the president's statement
Came after
Luengo.
After Luengo. Is that a retaliation?
Because what we saw in Luengo was really not so pleasing, especially when you have members charged. Ideally, you would not even wish to, at that position,
at that level of government,
at that level to go to
protocol.
the voters and make that. Because what is the implication even to the judicial officers? The judicial officers, who, by the way, the appointment of judges is done in parliament, and these things are appearing before magistrate in anti-corruption, who tomorrow also want to be appointed a judge, and now you are here saying this one is not. So how will it be impartial? Then the other thing is, I don't know whether the team in Luengo will go to the other two constituencies. The one of what the gentleman is
Serwan.
The one the deputy is Mutebile.
That one is from my district.
Yes.
That one is from my district.
And then the other gentleman. So are you now, do you find a situation where the team which was in Luengo goes with that same message
to Butaleja
and with that same money, because they pulled money and said it was from the father, the son, and will they go to all the three constituencies? I think that was really something not...
Just before I come to Honorable Salam Musumba, the speaker was very straightforward. He said the president has heard your voice. It shows that she was representing.
Yeah, and that is what we wanted. I really wish it should come out clear. If indeed the president communicated that, that she has heard the cries of the people of Luengo. Is it true? And is it true that the money that was given was really from the president? I like to want this clear, because some of us as cadres, we need to communicate the position of the party and the position of the party chairman. So if this is the position the party chairman has taken, then it needs to be clear so that we find it easier to communicate to the public. So is it true that that money came from the president, and is it true that the president had the cries? So therefore, I just like to go back to say we believe in the president's message, and he says, and he has repeatedly said that whoever gets along is bullet. He has warned all of us that please don't get on my way of the bullet. Therefore, all of us who are actors should be cognizant.
Bullet? We are back to the
bullet bullet is a figurative speech.
Very scary.
It's a figure of speech in saying I am fighting corruption.
It's a metaphor.
And when yes, it's a metaphor. When you're fighting corruption, you are fighting it by investigation, by arrest, and by prosecution. Those are the bullets. So he's saying don't get on my way of bullets, not the way of shooting. Therefore, is communicating to all of us, and all of us, I mean all of us, please let us not get on that way of the bullet. So I'm still saying, I have no doubt to believe in what the president is saying,
yes.
But we have many cadres who are acting, and either other cadres act in the out of lack of intent because of not knowing, or others do, but as you said, the president said it's already a fight. And that is what it means by fight. There are many forces in there. And now the president is saying, please don't get on my way.
Don't get in my way of this.
So all of us,
is that how you fight corruption?
Yes, by arrest, by investigation, by arrest, by prosecution. That is how we fight it. Is there any other better way?
Well, I was hearing about don't get in my way. And I was wondering how anybody can get in their way of corruption, not knowing that it's the way of corruption.
You can get on the way, for example, by obstructing investigation, by protecting the accused. by supporting.
Let me bring
There's a way you can get on.
Let me bring the conversation back to me. Honorable Salam Musumba is almost hijacking my position as the host of the show, asking questions. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm still in charge here. I would want to ask the questions. And Honorable Salam Musumba, you don't seem to be satisfied with how Major Retired Awich is presenting this case. Clearly, the speaker spoke almost on behalf of the president.
You cannot voice over the office of the president. You can't paraphrase. You cannot interpret. You can't speak for him. No, the president writes. I'm aware of that. He writes. And when you're representing him, it's an official function. Actually, people have asked, who is in charge here? We seem to be a sort of Haiti of sorts. Too many voices, no command and control, no... There's
members of parliament
confused situation.
Are members of parliament getting too comfortable in this situation when people are accusing them of corruption? Because we can look at the situation during the opening of the hospital in Kaberamaido. The president came out in Bukedea and seemed to,
to give the cue that you have done well. Where have you gotten the money from? Oh, I remember, you have done well.
So this is my question. Are some of these members of parliament getting comfortable with the situation that now they have?
By the way, there are stadia there. There are 2 stadia in Bukedea.
So, Major.
I saw them as I left Soroti the other week. I was in shock. I said, "Oh my God!"
That is now to find out. But Major,
it's on the road.
Do you think the members of parliament are getting too comfortable and using the voice or the name of the president in whichever way they want?
Well, first of all, no members of parliament have used the name of the president. I think the only usage so far is from the speaker.
Who is a member of parliament?
Yes, who is a member of parliament, yes. But being a speaker is over and above a member of parliament. So I wouldn't like to say it is the members of parliament who are using it.
We should be specific.
Yes. So then the question is answered. But I thought the question was whether members of parliament are comfortable with the status quo. If that was the question,
are they?
You see, the status quo can be examined in, first of all, are they beneficiaries in what Honorable says, the thuggery and the whatever. Even the President says treachery. So if you find members who are benefiting from this system, they would be comfortable. But also we have voices that we hear. There's also an element of intimidation in the parliament, in that members are scared to talk. I have heard many jokes saying that they don't fear the president, but the other people, they fear more. So he said, who do you fear more? Who should you fear more? So the comfort there is in the sense that if they are beneficiaries, like already the president said that the line connection between Minister of Finance and the people in parliament is being investigated. You see, Minister of Finance, you find a technical officer in charge of a cluster of ministries, like local government and Minister of Public Service, you find an officer. Unfortunately, in Parliament also, ministries are clustered. Like in the case of the arrested officers, you find Minister of Justice, Electoral Commission, Human Rights, all those legalities are clustered under one. And yet in the Ministry of Finance, there's also somebody who is clustered. So it is very easy.
A desk officer.
A desk officer. Yeah. So you find a connection between somebody in the Ministry of Finance and this one, and they play around with figures. And that is what now you would find such a person comfortable because he's a beneficiary. So the comfort is interpreted in that way. Either comfort because you're a beneficiary, or comfort, actually no comfort, but appear to be intimidated to keep quiet. So a lot need to be done really, and we need to make once again make our honorable house really honorable, and to make them know that they are really working for the people.
I know Honorable Salam Sumbani has a submission on that, but I love the fact that a cadre from NRM agrees that a lot needs to be done. Of course, to add on the lot that we have been told that has been done so far, some of the things that we are seeing. In the meantime, I will choose to go into a short commercial break. We are coming back and the conversation still continues. We need to understand the fight against corruption by the government of Uganda. Are we winning? If you look at the situation right now and the conversation, the analysis that is coming your way, are we winning this fight, or we still have a long way, like a major retired, which has said that we still have a lot of work? Stay tuned. Smart 24 TV is still on. My name is Noah Pera. This is the Economic Agenda.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
This is GOTV, and right here is where you can catch the brilliance of Mbappe, the scoring power of Kane, Ronaldo's, and all of the greats fighting for the glory to be crowned the kings of Europe. Don't miss the unbeatable action of all 51 games of Europe's biggest football event live on SuperSport on GOTV and GOTV Stream. The Euro 2024 live. That's GOTV for you. Love it.
Smart 24, driving business.
and gentlemen, I am still very grateful that you are still on Smart 24 TV, driving business, and we are on the issue of the government fighting corruption. This is business because a lot is happening, a lot of money is being lost. Ugandans, taxpayers' money is being lost in ways that we are all ungrateful about, we are not happy about. Honorable Salam Sumba and Major Retired, one of the things that I was trying to tell you is that I got into I read a snippet of Article 89 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda about the role of the Speaker, and I am here. I've been wondering, when does the Speaker get to speak for the President amidst a lot of things that are happening, issues of corruption? Was that statement right at that moment? I will start with Major Retired. Yes.
Oh, well, there are two issues or many issues there. The first issue is whether or not, or in what circumstance that the president delegated a speaker. And the other issue is whether it was timing, if at all he delegated. I think the separation of powers under the Constitution is very clear. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature, and we have the executive. Now, the judiciary is headed by the Chief Justice, and the legislature is headed by the Speaker of Parliament. Ideally, they are supposed to do separate work and checking on each other. So in the normal transaction of things that I know with President Museveni, he has an hierarchy to delegate. But within the executive, he can delegate a vice president, a prime minister, a deputy prime minister, ministers, down up to RDC. Up to RDC. That is his prerogative and mandate, and that should be the flow of things. I'm not so aware about the exceptional situation. It may occur because this is prerogative. But he would have to use it very judiciously in a situation where the president has to cross over the executive to delegate another arm of government, to delegate a chief justice, to delegate a speaker of parliament. It would really be very exceptional for a head of the executive to delegate.
Government which up till now, which as of now is the worst in corruption. And this is syndicate crime. It is systemic in that it is calibrated, it is discussed, it is premeditated, it is properly designed to beat the system. And all the people in the system are part of it. I'll tell you this. The worst kind of corruption, because before what we see, we didn't even know how to define it. It had no definition in common lingua. But now it is a household word. And the worst bit of it is that it's budget corruption. The budget is the heart. Because politics is economics. It is the worst cancer that has been introduced within our financial and economic, political and social system. Now, the technical people are guilty even before they are accused, because they draw the budgets. Over the years, even they are called budget, the statements, they're called what? Those statements that policy statements, the policy statements, they are not even secured, even in print. They can be adulterated, they can be altered, they can be varied. There is no tamper-proof mechanism in place, so that you can understand what was passed at committee. Committees are supposed to have minutes. That's why we introduced even recordings. Okay. Because when I was in Parliament, they weren't there. We set them up so that we could have a tamper-proof system. Actually, the goal now is to have it certified, ISO certified, like it is in Zimbabwe. An ISO certified Parliament would be one that is secured against all these ills. Now, the technical people, after designing, they collude with members of Parliament. They collude knowingly to have the money put into the budget so that it is safely taken out. And so, the people we should be asking is, one, the PS, the accounting officers.
Yes.
They should be the first to be arrested. Where are they in this?
Actually, the president made
the accountant general, accountant general, the final person,
the managing director in parastatals.
You see,
the president
before even you go there. So the way corruption is contracted is a well-established way. You don't even have to look elsewhere that corruption has happened. Yes. The system is built in such a way. That's why it's called a bureaucracy. It has checks and balances all over. So here at the center of government, we have this mega scandal of a budget, and really we have not even come round to understand how this is tenable, how this finds its way into our body politic, how it infects all of us, the entire society.
I want to get a comment from a major on this issue. You have quite mentioned a number of things, and I saw you noting down a few of those things. You needed an addition, because there's something crucial that I wanted to also get to as Honorable Salam Musumba breaks down some of these issues, because I also noticed that as you talk about permanent secretaries and
the accounting officers, let's use the accounting officers.
I think the president also in the same speech mentioned them, all of them, and said finances go through these people. But to the situation at the moment, Major General, what's your comment to Honorable Sarah Musumba's submission?
Okay, you're calling me Major General.
Major retired.
I have seen some retired officers being promoted. Maybe you are wishing me well.
I'm wishing you well. You deserve it.
Now, first of all, in the area of corruption, I would like to make this clear that I don't disagree with what Honorable is saying. I would in legal terms say I concur with her entirely and I have nothing more useful to add. The only addition that I want to subtract from her is that to say it is accepted as a norm in NRM.
I haven't heard. I haven't heard from the caucus. I haven't heard from SEC or from the secretariat.
Yes, now you are hearing I'm from secretariat, but for SEC, we had a SEC meeting the other day when we were putting committees, leaders of committees, and part of why we changed the committees was that the rule was stay for 2 years. If you overstay in a committee, you build that network of ministries. So that's why we made it as a rule, whoever had been there for 2 years, whether you are the husband of the speaker, like Engineer Magogo, was removed. There was one lady who is a clan member of the president, president said remove her. She's
clan member?
Yes, Basita. Museveni belongs to a clan called Abasita clan. And he made it clear that this lady is my relative, is from my clan. But she had passed the limit, said remove. So everybody, that is, and the stand on corruption was clearly discussed and demolished, really cast. Maybe in the statement that came out, it never came out. I don't know why it came, but I know Honorable Dombo must have addressed it because we had a brief for him to mention thereafter. Yes. But the action we took on removing leaders who had stayed their position was part of it to avoid corruption. It came out clearly in the SEC. From the secretariat, I'm here telling you I'm from plot 10. We don't want corruption, we curse it, and we urge our cadres who are our flag bearers in parliament who won not to be involved in this. So while I agree with the description and the personnel involved and the evil that corruption caused to the people, I agree with Honorable Musumbu, but I just want to say it is not a philosophy of the party. We curse it, we admonish it, we urge the chairman to work hard in all forums, including the last SEC that we had.
That said, Major retired. I'm glad I called you Major General. I hope you achieve it very soon. But that said, I have this concern. Over the years, the president has been making strong statements against corruption. Each term that comes, he makes strong statements against corruption. And we have seen some results here and there. What is different this time? What is different this time in this fight against corruption? What should we look at as an assurance that the president is stamping on corruption in these years?
What we should look at this time is, first of all, that corruption is manifesting more than before. And you can see in budget systems. The other thing is that the president says he has been hearing, but he didn't have proof. He said he has been hearing, but now is causing a whip, meaning that earlier before we were acting in general concepts, not in specificity, and therefore the hearing that he has been hearing before, and now that he confirms it, therefore causes a difference in action, in emphasis, in clarity. Okay? So that now pretty answers your question. What is the difference before that? Before that, we have been acting as a general rule, putting the law in place, putting the institutions like IGG and the anti-corruption court. We're even saying we should even go ahead and put anti-corruption prison so that the whole chain is complete. But the difference now is that contrary to him having been hearing, now he has come to prove
with a full force.
Yes, it has come to be proved, especially the ones which he himself mentioned, that it is from Ministry of Finance to Parliament, but of course in all facets.
Yes.
So this has now touched the adrenaline, that the adrenaline is now higher and more ready and positioned to fight it.
The fight has so far captured 5 MPs. Honorable Salam Musumba, do you disagree this time that we are winning the war and the president is has geared up for this fight?
I doubt. I doubt, and I want to be proved wrong. But when you're plotting a graph over the years, over the time, you're able to see a pattern. And so I see that pattern as more of the same. 5
MPs have been arrested so far.
And more will be.
And more will be, we are hoping.
We'll be back when that happens. But for you to state or allege that the president has been hearing, the government...
He says he has been hearing.
See, government, the structure of government is such that even the ears are put there. For instance, intelligence gathering, financial intelligence authority. Those are the ears of the president. You have ISO, Internal Security Organization. Instead of chasing Salam, Dr. Besigye, opposition and all that, do the thorough intelligence gathering that is required not to collapse a country the way this could. And so the president has ears, but even his intelligence gathering tools and organs have also been infested. They don't give the reports as they should. I'm aware of people who buy reports, positive reports to the president. They bribe their way up till that high. And it has also become a norm. Otherwise, why wouldn't the president know about the happenings in Bank of Uganda? What the happenings in Parliament? I remember when I was in Parliament, Hippo was such an operative that, and even Ofono Pondo and others that I won't mention, they were doing this job and giving reports that were not wayward the way some of these are. And so you have a mega failure of institutions and the people. And really when a president talks about betrayal in this aspect, in this limited aspect, I would want to believe that it's really betrayal of our trust as a nation, our security as a nation. Because how do monies of that magnitude flow out? Actually, the word flow out would be a decent word to say, but how does it leak? How does it get stolen with all these checks and balances? The FIA, Financial Intelligence Authority, I mean, what does it do? I've been told of people walking and picking money from a bank here at Garden City in sacks, 6-10 sacks.
The good thing is we are with a man who is also in the security and
it's okay. And Ugandans watch and wonder, wow. So you get into parliamentary space, your economy changes overnight, and you start bragging about everything, and you throw
major retired
away any decency. Any decency.
Are these things happening?
Which ones?
The things that Honorable Salam Musumba.
I just was first. I wanted to comment about ISO. Internal Security Organization has that wide mandate to collect intelligence.
Intelligence, yes.
And the chief consumer
about anything and everything.
The chief consumer of intelligence is the president.
Is the president.
I know over time they have insisted on intelligence information on especially corruption that affects service delivery. They have really been strict on them up to grassroots level. They have been really strict that please gather intelligence that will help monitoring into service delivery. No money should be stolen that affects service
like
delivery.
this one of the budget.
That affects, So it has really been a core mandate of ISO, and I know they have been trying. To what extent they have succeeded, it is debatable, but I know they have been doing it. It has been in the center of their task. Financial intelligence organization, my view is that it's more international because it is under an international, under a convention, so to say, where Uganda ratified. It's more of an American affiliated thing to be sure that money is not going to terrorists. So I hope that their focus is not so much into
Economic
money
terrorism.
Yes, I was hoping that their mandate is not so focused between money from Uganda and abroad, or from abroad to Uganda, and they overlook the flow of money internally. Because ideally we should have a body to monitor the flow of money internally. Does Major Wich go and withdraw 20 billion? Does Honorable Musumba go to? It would be a concern. As we all know that there are no sugarcane workers that Musumba, that Musumba is going to pay for 20 billion. So we should have bodies because we are a state. We are not a failed state. We are a government.
Major retired.
And if it's not failed, why would you use if
we are not? We are not.
When you say we should, when you say we should, it seems like they are not there.
No, I'm just querying the mandate of this organization because I'm not privy to all of it. That's what I'm saying.
In response to the information that President should be getting, and also in response to hearing, as you said. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know one thing because we have about 3 minutes to close. In 1 minute, are we winning this war, Honorable Salam Musumba?
We are not yet.
We are not yet winning the war.
We are not yet winning the war. And this is not about bullets and pangas. It's about the finesse of systems.
Yes.
Checks and balances and having the right people in the right place. And not counterfeits. Because we have people who are counterfeits within the system.
Yes.
You know? And there are people there who are just doubles. You know? They are seated as the front of that assignment, but there are people backstage that have taken the job.
And
so this triplication, duplication is in itself a problem because the chain of command gets broken and therefore the controls and the systems get compromised.
And of course, Major retired, which giving us assurance now. Are we winning this war?
We are winning
this war.
We are winning the war because we have proven history of having won many wars. The country is utterly stable.
Yes.
No corner of Uganda you find insecurity now.
Yes.
Not long ago in Kenya, schools were closed. There was a child who made a comment and cried for the opening of the school, and she was made to meet President Ruto. You can't have even a small village now, you say there's insecurity where schools are closed. So we have won many battles before. President Museveni himself has a back of his history of having won many weapons. It was, including domesticating the army. The army that is now talking to Major Wich like this is a totally domesticated animal. It used not to be. Therefore, with the history of many wars won by Museveni and by NRM, I have no doubt that we are winning this.
Thank you very much, Honorable Salam Musumba and Major retired Awich. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence and your opinions and brains to make sure that we get the country to understand the government's fight against corruption. And on the other side, we are winning the war, that from the government, I will say, and also from the opposition, represented by Honorable Salam Musumba. The war is not being won yet. I think one call that I would say, a call to action, is this war is for everyone, every Ugandan, every citizen of this country, to make sure that corruption is stamped out of this country, because we are losing a lot of things in terms of service delivery. The budget was read over 72 trillions, and we expect that a lot of things have to be done in education, in health, and other services, transport, my community of Butare still has no tarmac road, but we are a major economy. I keep on saying that.
Yeah, a rice economy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish you a very wonderful night. This is Smart 24 TV. My name is Noah Wapera, and the economic agenda happens every Tuesday from 9 p.m. up to 10:30. Have a blessed night.